Hello everyone. So welcome back to the second video on number system, the basics of numbers. I've already uploaded one video on number system in which we discuss the basics of numbers, where we discuss what is a number line, what are rational numbers, what are irrational numbers, how to define factors, how to define multiples, what are odd numbers, what are even numbers, and so on and so forth. Okay, prime, composite, and all those things we have discussed in detail with their definitions. Okay, and trust me, you need to know this part if you want to score good in number system, whether you talk about GRE or whether you talk about GMAT. The basics have to be crystal clear. Okay, so if this is the first video of number systems that you're watching, then please go through the first video of numbers where I have taught the basics of numbers, and then come back to this one because this is just an extension of the first video. Okay, although this one is also important. In this video we'll basically be discussing just the three things. Okay, so the first thing that we'll be understanding is what do you mean by terminating and non-terminating decimals. Okay, how do you explain them, how do you define them? Also, terminating, non-terminating, is it exactly the same as repeating and non-repeating? That is another thing that we'll be discussing. Once done with that, then we'll be understanding the PEMDAS rule. Okay, for those of you who are affiliated with Indian curriculum, you must have understood this rule as under the name of BODMAS. So BODMAS and PEMDAS, it's exactly the same. Okay, it's just the naming that's different. And the third thing that we'll be understanding is how do we solve recurring decimals. Okay, so these are the three things that we will be discussing in this video. All right, so let's get started. The first thing, that is, how do you define terminating and non-terminating numbers, or terminating and non-terminating decimals? Now, if you're going to look up in dictionary and if you search for this word terminating, you'll find that the meaning of this term is something that ends or something that stops. Something that ends or something that stops is basically known as terminating. So when you talk about terminating decimals are basically those decimals which ends after a certain point of time. For example, if I say 2.5, that's a terminating decimal. If I say 10.32, this is also a terminating decimal. If I say 5.65321, this is also a terminating decimal. So a terminating decimal is one which basically stops after a couple of decimals. That's basically what the whole point is. When you talk about the term non-terminating decimal, so non-terminating decimals are those which do not end. For example, 3.33333333 and so on and so forth. This is a non-terminating decimal. Or for example, if you write something as let's say 0.142857142857 and so on and so forth, this is also a non-terminating decimal. Okay, or for example, let's suppose if I write something as 0.11111 and so on and so forth, this is also a non-terminating decimal. If you write the value of pi, so if you write the exact value of pi in the decimal form, this will come out to be 3.141592653589 and so on and so forth. This does not end. Okay, so again, the point is, this is what is non-terminating numbers or non-terminating decimal, basically which do not end. Now, non-terminating, terminating have no relation with repeating and non-repeating. Okay, it has no relation with repeating and non-repeating. So for example, for the first decimal, when I say 3.333333, so this is non-terminating but repeating. Now this one decimal is both. It's non-terminating as well as repeating, but that does not stand for the fact that non-terminating and repeating have something in common. No, they do not have anything in common. Similarly, when you write 0.12142857142857, that is again non-terminating but repeating, or you can write non-terminating and repeating, whichever way suits you. Third one is again non-terminating and repeating. So all these three are non-terminating and repeating, or whether if you want to use the word but, you can also do that. The fourth one is non-terminating and non-repeating. And non-repeating. Okay, so there is no relation, but yeah, one decimal can be both of them. That's quite possible. Okay, so there is no relationship between terminating, non-terminating, repeating, non-repeating. So repeating, non-repeating, it's not something you need to focus upon. What you need to actually focus upon is terminating and non-terminating. Okay, so now you know the meaning of the term terminating and non-terminating. You know what exactly it is. Now the actual question, the actual point is, what type of questions can be asked? Okay, so let's suppose they give you something like, they're gonna give you a fraction. Let's suppose they give you something like 57 divided by 1000, and they can ask you whether this fraction is a terminating decimal or a non-terminating decimal. Now in this case, this is quite easy, because you know that 57 by 1000 will simply become 0.057. So we know that this will be a terminating decimal. But what if I would have given you like 57 divided by 256? Or for example, if I would have given you like 1333 divided by, let's suppose, what can we do? Let's say 250, for example. Or instead of 250, let's suppose if I would have given you like 264 or 399. So the whole point is, if something is given to you in the form of P by Q, how would you figure out whether it's a terminating decimal or a non-terminating decimal? Now that's quite obvious. Like you won't start solving that fraction with the help of the calculator. Okay, that's not the whole point. We all know that. So what are the steps involved? How do you figure out? This is something that we'll be learning next. So a fraction, whether proper or improper doesn't matter, is given to you in the form of P by Q, where Q is not equal to 0. Okay, so what are the steps involved? The very first thing that you have to do is, you have to write P by Q into its lowest form. I hope everyone understands the meaning of the term lowest form. Lowest form is something like this. Let's suppose if you have written something as 14 by 32, then you're going to take 2 common, and this will simply become 7 by 16. Okay, whatever is common in numerator and denominator, you're going to cancel that out. That's the whole point. Okay, so the point number 2 is, you're going to prime factorize the denominator. You're going to prime factorize the denominator. So in the case of 14 by 32, once I have written that into its lowest form, that is 7 by 16, so I'm going to prime factorize 16. Okay, I'm not going to prime factorize 32, I'm going to prime factorize 16. Okay, third point, if the prime factorization consists of only multiples of 2 or only multiples of 5 or only multiples of 2 and 5. If the prime factorization of the denominator that you have done in step number 2, if it consists of multiples of only 2 or only 5 or only 2 and 5, in that case the fraction is a terminating decimal, otherwise it's not. In that case the fraction is a terminating decimal, otherwise it's not. So if you talk about 7 by 16, when you're going to do the prime factorization of 16, this will be 2 to the power 4. So this basically consists of only 2 or only multiples of 2. This is going to be a terminating decimal. This is going to be a terminating decimal. Even if you put this value on a calculator like 7 by 16, you will get your result as 0.4375. So it's a terminating one. You don't have any number to the right of 5. Okay. All right. So let's draw some questions. So let me remove all of this from the screen. So question is same, basically like which of the following fractions are terminating decimals. Okay. So I'm going to give you like a couple of fractions. You're going to try them first by yourself. You're going to pause the video, you're going to try the questions yourself, then you're going to play back the video and understand how I have solved them. Okay. So first fraction is 9 by 80. Tell me whether this fraction will result in a terminating decimal or a non-terminating decimal. Alright, so we're going to follow the same steps, same 3 steps. Is there anything common between 9 and 80? No, because 9 is like 3 square, and so it consists of only 3, 1 and 9s, and 80 does not consist of 3, 1, it do consist of 1, but it does not consist of 3 or 9. Okay, so I have nothing in common, so the fraction will remain as it is. Then I'm going to prime factorize the denominator. So 80 is nothing but 8 into 10. So 8 is like 2 cube and 10 is like 2 into 5. So I can rewrite this as 2 to the power 4 into 5. I can simply write 80 as 2 to the power 4 into 5. Now the prime factorization of 80, the prime factorization of 80 consists of multiples of only 2 and 5. Multiples of only 2 and 5. Hence this is a terminating decimal. Hence this is a terminating decimal. That is all that you have to do. That's it. Okay, let's try another one. $231 divided by 480. So pause the video and try this question. Alright, so let's try this one. So is there anything common between 231 and 480? So 2 is not common, that's for sure, because 231 is an odd number. What about 3? For 3 I need to add the digits. So 2 plus 3 is 5 plus 1 is 6. So this is divisible by 3. 480, 4 and 8 is 12. So this is also divisible by 3. So this will become 77 by 160. Now 77 is 7 into 11 and 160 is neither a multiple of 11 and it's neither a multiple of 7. Okay, which means there is nothing common left. So that means I have to prime factorize 160. So this is 16 into 10. So that is 2 to the power 4 into 2 into 5. This will basically become 2 to the power 5 into 5. So again you can see that the prime factorization of 160 is only a multiple of 2 and 5. Hence 231 by 480 is also a terminating decimal. It is also a terminating decimal. Okay, let's try one more. So 91 by 225. Try this one also. All right, so when you talk about 91, 91 is 13 into 7. So 13 into 7. And when you talk about 225, 225 is neither a multiple of 13 and it's neither a multiple of 7. Okay, so I have to simply do prime factorization of 225. So 225, it's 25 into 9, which is nothing but 5 square into 3 square. Now here, this expression that I have, let me change my color. This expression that I have is not only a multiple of 5. It is not only a multiple of 5, it is a multiple of 3 also. It is a multiple of 3 also. Okay, this is a multiple of 3 also. Hence, this will not result into a terminating decimal. Hence, it will not result in a terminating decimal. Okay, so this is how you figure out, or this is how you evaluate or calculate whether the fractions you have are a terminating decimal or a non-terminating decimal. Okay, this is how you do it. All right, so I hope this concept is clear. Now you just have to practice the question. Remember the 3 steps, use them effectively, and you'll get your answers. Okay, it's not that big a deal. So I'm going to repeat the 3 steps again. First, you're going to look at the fraction. If anything is common in the numerator and denominator, you're going to cancel that out. Or in other terms, you can say that you're going to write the fraction into its lowest form. Then you're going to prime factorize the denominator, just the denominator, okay? The prime factorization of numerator need not be done. It's not required. So you're going to prime factorize only denominator. If the prime factorization is a multiple of 2 or 5 or both 2 and 5 only, the prime factorization is a multiple of 2, 5 or 2 and 5 only, in that case the fraction is a terminating decimal, otherwise it's not a terminating decimal. Okay. Alright, let's move on to the next thing, that is the PEMDAS rule. Now this is a rule which you need to know, or this is basically the chronological order on how you're supposed to use the mathematical operations. Okay, so when you talk about the term PEMDAS, the P in PEMDAS stands for parenthesis. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to also write BODMAS. This is basically for my Indian viewers. In case of BODMAS, this stands for bracket. Okay, so parenthesis and bracket, it's one and the same thing. Parenthesis is just a fancy word for the term bracket. Okay, nothing else. Okay, now first of all, before we go to EMD, first of all look at A and S. In PEMDAS, ANS and in BODMAS, ANS occupy the same chronological order. Okay, so the last one is subtraction, before that it's addition. Now the E in PEMDAS stands for exponent. This is exactly on the lines of O of BODMAS, that stands for off. The only difference which is there in PEMDAS and BODMAS is that when you talk about MD, that is multiplication, and after that it's division, and in BODMAS it's division and then it's multiplication. Okay, but very frankly, this should not concern you. This should not concern you for the very fact that if I give you something as 15 into 13 divided by 10, okay? Now, whether you rewrite this as 65 by 10 and then you say, okay, my answer is 6.5, or whether you say, okay, it's going to be 5 into 1.3 and my answer is 6.5. It's one and the same thing. Okay, it's one and the same thing, there is no difference. So whether you solve your question with the help of BODMAS or whether you solve your question with the help of PEMDAS, it's one and the same thing. The reason why I'm explaining you this is that if you're also going through some textbooks where you're going to find this word PEMDAS, you should not get confused. That's the whole point and nothing else. Okay, so for those who have followed Indian curriculum, the CBSE curriculum, okay, so if you have studied BODMAS, please solve your question according to it. There will be no difference in the answer. Okay, so for example, if you do 3 square bracket into 5, now whether you solve this question using PEMDAS or whether you solve this question using BODMAS, it's one and the same thing. So first you're going to solve something inside the bracket. You have an exponent, so this will become 9, and then you're going to multiply this by 5, which will become 45. It's the same thing that's going to happen with BODMAS also. There will be no difference. Okay, sometimes students do ask me, sir, is PEMDAS different to that of BODMAS? So no, the answer is simply no. Okay, there is no difference at all. Alright, so the last thing that we have to discuss is basically how to solve a recurring decimal. Okay, so let's try to understand this. So for example, if they give you something like convert 0.3 bar into P by Q form, then find P plus Q. Okay, so you need to convert 0.3 bar into P by Q form and then you need to find P plus Q. So two things. First thing is what do you mean by this bar? That's the first question. And how can you convert the 0.3 bar into P by Q form? That's the second question. Okay, so whenever you write a bar on any number after the decimal, that basically means that that number or those numbers are gonna repeat themselves. Okay, so when you write 0.3 bar basically means 0.3333333 and so on and so forth. There is no end to it. This is what is meant by 0.3 bar. For example, if I would have given you like 0.42 bar, so 0.42 bar would have been 0.42, 42, 42, 42 and so on and so forth. If I would have given you like 0.765 bar on that, so that will be 0.765, 765, 765 and so on and so forth. This is basically what it means whenever you talk about the term bar on top of a number after decimal. Okay, so I have P which is equal to 0.3 bar. Okay, or I can write P will be equal to 0.3333 and so on and so forth. There is no end to it basically. Okay, so if P is 0.33333 and there is actually no end to it, it goes up to infinity. So can I write 10p, or basically if I multiply both sides by 10, can I write 10p as 3.3333 and so on and so forth up to infinity? So I have P which is 0.3333 up to infinity, and I have 10p which is 3.33 up to infinity. So what I'm going to do is, this is my equation number 1, this is my equation number 2. I'm going to do equation number 1 minus equation number 2. I'm going to do equation number 1 minus equation number 2. So 10p minus p is 9p, and 3.333333 minus 0.33333, what's going to happen, this part is going to get cancelled, because you have 3 after decimal up to infinity in the first equation also, and you have 3 after decimal up to infinity in the second equation also. So it will simply be 3, which will give you p as 1 over 3, which is 3 over 9 is basically 1 over 3. Okay, so your answer here simply becomes 4. You may pinpoint one thing, that okay, Harshit, you haven't mentioned that whether p by q is to be taken in its actual form or into its lowest form. So my mistake, my apologies for that. The p by q should be in its lowest form. Okay, instead of writing it as 3 by 9, write it as 1 by 3. Basically the point is, I hope you have got the concept. That's the only concern. Like, how do you convert a recurring decimal into the fraction form? That's the only concern with this question. Okay, so let's take another question. Sorry. So convert into the fraction form. Okay, so pause the video and try this question, please. All right, so what I'm going to do again is that I'm going to take y equal to 0.42 bar. Okay, I'm going to take y equal to 0.42 bar, which means I can write that y is equal to 0.42, 42, 42, 42 and so on and so forth. There is no end to it. Now see, again you need to understand the symmetricity. Now in this case I won't like multiply by 10. Okay, let's say suppose if I multiply this equation by 10, then this will become 10y is 4.24242424 and so on and so forth. Now see, there is a difference. The difference is that, see the terms after the decimal in this case, that is 424242, and see the terms after decimal in this case, they are 242424. So if you're gonna do, like, let's suppose if you say this is equation 1 and this is equation 2, and if you say okay, let's do equation 2 minus equation 1, the part after the decimal won't be cancelled. The part after the decimal won't be cancelled. So what we're going to do in this case is we're going to multiply y by 100. So 100y will simply become 42.424242 and so on and so forth. This will be your equation 3. Now carefully observe equation 1 and equation 3. You will find exactly the same terms after decimal. You will find exactly the same terms after decimal. So you can do 3 minus 1. So 100y minus y is 99y. 42.4242 minus 0.424242 will result in 42. So the value of y will simply become 42 divided by 99. Okay, so the value of y will simply become 42 divided by 99. Alright, let's try another one. Convert 0.563 into fraction, and you have a bar on 6, 3. Okay, you have a bar on 6 and 3. 5 is not under the bar. Okay, so pause the video and try this question. All right, let's try this one now. So let's say a is equal to 0.563 bar. Okay, which means a is basically equal to 0.563 63 63 63 and so on and so forth. It goes up to infinity. Okay, now if I do 10a, then this will become 5.63 63 63 and so on and so forth. So I would realize, okay, this is not gonna work out, because if I'm gonna subtract, so let's say this is my equation 1, this is my equation 2. So if I'm gonna do equation 2 minus equation 1, this is 636363 for equation 2, and it is 563563 for equation, sorry, my bad, 5636363 for equation 1. So that's not gonna work out. The numbers after decimals are not gonna cancel out each other. Okay, if I'm gonna do 100a, then this will become 56.36 36 36 and so on and so forth. So again, you can see that whether you compare 3 with 1, the numbers after decimals are different. Whether you compare 3 with 2, the numbers after decimals are also different. So this is also not working out. So let's go one step higher. I'm going to go 1000a, which will basically be 563.63 63 63 and so on and so forth. This is my equation number 4. Now again, observe carefully, equation number 4 and equation number 1, the digits are different after the decimal. In 1 we have 5636363, in 4 we have 636363. We don't have 5, that's missing out. But if you look at 2 and 4, you have exactly the same numbers after decimal. You have exactly the same numbers after decimal. So we're going to do 4 minus 2. We're going to do 4 minus 2. So 1000a minus 10a, that will be 990a. And this is going to cancel out. So 563 minus 5 will be 558. So a will become 558 divided by 990, and you can then convert it into its lowest form also. So that's your call. Okay, so this is basically how you convert your recurring decimals into fractions. Okay, so guys, this was more or less the basics of numbers which you need to know, just the basics, so that you know, okay, this is what the decimal is, how do you convert decimal into fraction, what is terminating, non-terminating, rational, irrational, prime, not prime, even, odd, just the basic stuff that I have covered in the 2 basic videos of numbers. Okay, so from the next video we're going to understand topic by topic. So the first thing that we will be discussing will be based on SCF and LCM. So we're going to understand SCF and LCM, and then we're going to practice a lot of questions on SCF and LCM, because the concept is pretty simple and most of you would be knowing it, but like when it comes to the questions, it becomes fairly difficult. Okay, so thank you so much for watching the video. Please subscribe to the channel, please like the video and share the video with your friends and with whomsoever who needs the training for GRE, GMAT or ACT. If you have any doubts, if you have any concerns, you can always let us know. You can comment on the video, or you can ping us also on WhatsApp. You can mail us also. The mail ID is also given to us. And if you're looking for any personalized classes, you can always connect with us for the same. Okay guys, so thank you so much. Keep watching and keep learning. Thank you so much.